Alright guys, so I just want to say something today in this vlog that I've never said before. So as many of you guys know, I actually was a special needs student in high school. I was gifted and talented, but I was also in special education, which, as I've mentioned before, special education is a broad, and many people don't know this, but special education is actually a really broad term, just like autism is really a broad term. Special education encompasses people of lower intelligence, middle intelligence, and higher intelligence. In fact, there are many individuals I've met within special education that have unique talents that I've never seen before in any other individual. Again, when they say special needs, special is not necessarily a negative term. It can also be positive in many ways too. So as you guys may know, special education is a hot topic nowadays, a very heavy hot topic. School districts argue about it, parents talk about it, especially if they have special needs kids. And one of the issues that I came into contact with in high school was, well, issues. That's literally it. I got issue after issue after issue. One week it was the principal calling home, next week it was a suspension, next week it was this and that, and it was so much drama, and it made me feel like I was a bad guy, when in reality the school just didn't handle things well. And I think that after talking to a lot of parents about this who have special needs kids, they always recommended that I should have an advocate or that I should have a lawyer or whatnot. And back then I really wanted to get one. But now I'm kind of thankful that I didn't. And here's why. Let me start off by saying I don't think that, I acknowledge that lawyers, special education lawyers, special education attorneys, special education advocates, they need to exist. I believe that they are a necessity. But I think that we rely on them way too much in intense situations. And that actually, while it may solve a small problem, it doesn't solve the larger problem, which is the fact that discrimination exists within our education system. So, in order to explain what I mean, I am simply going to get you guys to understand why discrimination exists in general. Discrimination exists because people do not understand what it's like to be in a certain person's position. As an autistic individual, I have faced discrimination, I have faced ostracism from many of my peers, and the school district, of course. But the major reason that I face all of this negativity and stigma is because these people speak a different language. They don't understand what autism is. Sure, they may have heard of it. Sure, they may have maybe read an article of it in their life, but they don't know what it's like to be an autistic student. They don't know what it's like to have anxiety. And as such, they judge you based on their own standards, which is wrong, period. But this is what leads them to discriminate. Similarly, when we have discrimination in our education system, when we have people or educators recommending or even enforcing special needs students to stay out of clubs because they have a certain ailment or whatnot, or stay out of certain activities because they have a physical disability. What happens is this person has their own ideas, they conjure their own ideas about this disability, and then they exert it onto the individual with the quote-unquote disability. I don't like using the term disability, as I mentioned before, but this is in effect what happens. And okay, so now we have laws such as IDEA, or American Disabilities Act, and a ton of others that prevent students like myself, or was like myself, I'm not a high school student anymore, but I'm in college now, from being discriminated. And having those laws is a good thing. I support it 100%. But these laws should only be used as backup. Because when we use these laws, when we get the lawyers or get special needs advocates to come to the table and say argue it out with educators or whatnot, the parents want something, the educators want something else, the parents don't like what the educators are saying or want to do, and as such they get a third party special needs advocate or whatnot who basically defends them. Now, in some cases, a special needs advocate is actually a good thing, and they're gonna try to ease tensions between both groups. That's good. But a lot of times what happens is we've got the parents, the kid, and the school district just going off against one another. And this is very unproductive. Very unproductive. I'm not even kidding. This gets absolutely nothing done, and it helps nobody. So what I'm saying is, yes, there is a place for lawyers, there is a place for special needs advocates, but they should be used as a last-minute resort. When we use these options, when we lawyer up, when we defend ourselves, what ends up happening is we solve the small problem, meaning, okay, maybe my kid was excluded from an activity, or the counselors don't want him taking too many AP courses, and I want him, or he wants to take more AP courses or whatnot. So now I'm just going to get a special needs advocate. So you're solving the problem, that the smaller problem, you're getting the coursework you want, or you're getting a chance to have your child involved in activities, and that's a great thing. But what's happening at the same time is we're neglecting the bigger problem, which is, why do these laws exist in the first place? The only way that we can stop discrimination within our education system is understand what discrimination is and why it exists. The only way that we can get educators to stop, whether it be consciously or unconsciously, discriminating, or subconsciously discriminating against students with autism or bipolar disorder or whatnot, is if we find out some way to put themselves in the position of a student with autism or a student with any form of special needs. I really feel that if my principal or if my counselor or whatnot put themselves in my position back in high school, and saw and really took the time to understand how my peers treated me, and all the obstacles that I dealt with in high school, they wouldn't just have sat there and been silent, making numerous propositions that didn't really help me at all. So that is what we need to do. How we're going to do it, I don't know. Because in the short run, sure, a lawyer helps. Getting what you want, that solves the small problem. But the bigger problem is, why does discrimination exist, and how are we going to stop it? And the only way we can stop it is if we educate our educators on what it's like to be in the position of a special needs student. Thank you, and have a good night.